As June wraps up, the campaign season's kicking into high gear. We're just 37 days away from primary elections in both our states. It is crunch time, and candidates and interest groups are trying to make an impact on the airwaves. In Missouri, ahead of the primaries, we are seeing ad buys for some of the biggest races on the ballot as politicians make a play to stand out in the crowd.
Every state is a border state. President Biden has failed to secure the border.
I'll always fight Washington because that's how we save Missouri.
Some Republicans are using fear to get the message across. American Dream PAC, the powerhouse raising millions to support Lieutenant Governor Mike Kehoe in his bid for governor, tells viewers America is under attack. Opponent, State Senator Bill Eigel, says Missouri needs saving, claiming Missourians are clinging to guns, not government, among a number of other pieces of rhetoric we've heard before. Recent polling shows Eigel clinging to last place in the Republican race for governor. He's in a distant third in the latest Emerson College The Hill poll among likely Republican voters, with Kehoe and Secretary of State Jay Ashcroft battling it out for the top spot. Ashcroft holds a slight lead right now within the margin of error. It's even closer in another poll we'll get to in a minute. And look at the undecideds there on the right and the Republican side at 46%. Lots to talk about for sure. The race for Attorney General is also picking up steam in the Show Me state. You've no doubt seen the attack ads by now. On the Republican side, current AG Andrew Bailey, who was appointed to the post, wants to win his first election for the job. He's up against Will Scharf, a Trump attorney, former prosecutor and former Greitens aide. Bailey did not attend a forum this past Monday in St. Louis. Scharf took the stage with Democratic challenger, civil rights attorney Elad Gross. Both candidates told the crowd they want change in Jeff City.
We need a major change in that office. We need someone who knows how to be the Attorney General of Missouri. We need someone who's going to make sure that when you have a problem in your community, that person has your back.
So I think it's time for a break with the past. I think the existing Jefferson City dynamic needs to be broken if this state is going to get ahead.
The Federalist Society sponsored that forum. That's a conservative legal advocacy group whose leaders have largely backed Scharf in the race. Let's dig into these races for some context and perspective. Please welcome back KMBC9 political reporter Michael Mahoney and Jason Hancock, editor-in-chief of the Missouri Independent. Thank you so much for both being here. Let's start on the Republican side of the race for governor. We'll put the poll numbers up again from Emerson and The Hill. Mahoney, Secretary Ashcroft still in first, but he's lost a decent lead in the last year.
Yeah, he has. He had a commanding lead for most of this year. In the latest polling, that lead has collapsed, and he and Lieutenant Governor Mike Kehoe are now in a statistical tie for that. There is also a Remington poll here that shows that it is basically a 31-29 race, and also a statistical tie. Bill Eigel is still stuck in single digits, but the undecided at that Remington poll is substantially less than it is in the Emerson poll. It's down to about 1/3, and that feels right about four weeks out on the primary.
Yeah, 31% right. Feels a little bit better than 46%, which is what the other poll is showing. Right. That's pretty staggering, Jason, just 37 days before the election.
Yeah, I've gotten the sense that the electorate isn't quite keyed in on these races yet, which is not surprising. You know, these primaries don't usually draw a ton of attention and voter engagement. Trump and Biden aren't going to be on the ballot, which has driven a lot of the turnout in the past. And I think you're seeing the effects of Mike Kehoe's fundraising prowess. He's just grossly raised all of his opponents, more money than all of them combined from both parties, and is just flooding the airwaves and has been on the air for a long time, raising his name ID, dragging Jay Ashcroft down as he goes. Now Ashcroft's on the air, Eigel's on the air. This is the home stretch, and we're going to see how this all plays out. But it's really Kehoe's money versus Eigel's grassroots strength versus Ashcroft's, 50 years of name ID. And we're going to see which one is stronger as we head towards the August primary.
Yeah, Jason, you mentioned that, Biden and Trump aren't on the ballot. You'd be fooled if you were watching the ads right now because their names are mentioned nonstop.
Right, and the interesting thing about this, the Eigel campaign, at least their political action committee, is up on the air here in Kansas City. Most of the advertising has been centered in the governor's race in southwest Missouri, where there's a huge bulk of Republican primary voters, and in the St. Louis area, which is about 40% of the Republican primary electorate. So that's where the battleground has been joined. It has just been lately here in the Kansas City market. Bill Bill Eigel is up with a campaign commercial, and Mike Keogh's Political Action Committee is up with a spot on his behalf. But they'll all be on the air here very quickly.
And in those ads that we've been seeing, those two candidates specifically have been doing basically a greatest hits, Jason, of conservative campaign issues, the border, the trans rights in schools, government overreach. Is that going to be enough to resonate with voters based on what we're seeing?
I mean, it seems like it's a fight for the real grassroots MAGA Trump voter. The former president hangs over all of these races, the governor's race, obviously, but even the attorney general's race, which you referenced earlier, you have both men vying for the label of the Trump candidate. And so, yeah, you're going to see a lot of the issues that he's been speaking about on the national level. Immigration, China has been a big issue in the gubernatorial primary, being who's most anti-China, whose record has got the fingerprints of Chinese-owned farmland. These are the issues that are going to play out. These are the issues that they believe resonate. You're seeing them in congressional races too. Here in mid-Missouri, we have an open Republican primary for a congressional seat. Same principles. It's immigration. It's China. These are the things that are, they believe resonate with voters, and this sort of race to getting these primary voters to turn out for them is on.
Real quick, I do want to get to the Attorney General's race. I know Jason, Independent's been reporting some major contributions to Will Sharp's campaign, and Mahoney, there is some internal polling coming from the Bailey side that seems to think that this race is a blowout, right?
Right. Public Strategies poll released by Andrew Bailey's campaign late last week shows him with a big double-digit lead. Now, you got to qualify it rather by the fact that it's coming from one of the campaigns that's involved in this. But it's interesting because Mr. Sharp and Elad Gross, the Democrat, also appeared at a debate over in St. Louis this past week, and Attorney General Bailey didn't show it at all.
Right, no show. So we'll see what that means.
Which might mean he thinks that he's in the driver's seat.
Right.
Right.
We'll have to see. As we said, 37 days to go. Michael Mahoney, Jason Hancock, thank you so much for your time. Count on Heart of the Matter and KMBC 9 News for your commitment 2024 coverage. We'll follow the important races and issues every step of the way, leading up to and through Primary Day, August 6th.